KTN News. Well, in studio for this conversation, I have a very able panel, and to my immediate left, political analyst Peter Amunga. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
We also have George Kimiti, who is running independently for the Kajiado East parliamentary seat. Thank you for joining us. Ruben Ndolo, running independently for the Makadara parliamentary seat. And last but not least, lawyer Nelson Harvey, joining us every Saturday here on Weekend Express. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. So let's begin with taking a look at what's making headlines on the dailies this morning. So on the Saturday Standard's front page, teachers and police get a pay boom, and they seem to be smiling all the way to the bank. That's a report on pages 2 and 19 of the paper, but we will get to that. Also on the front page of the paper, Raila's fresh poll rigging claims cause a storm. And that's a report that continues on page 4 and 5 of the paper. So yesterday we had NASA flag bearer Raila Odinga reveal a particular elaborate plan, allegedly by the KDF, to rig these particular elections. Later in the day, we had KDF come and own up to that particular document, but say it was taken out of context. You know, it's allegations that we've had for a while from the opposition side. Amunga, your thoughts on these claims?
Yes, of course, as we gear up, as we near the election date, we expect those kind of allegations, kind of stories. It's good that the KDF owned up and said that true, it's part of what they have a plan to keep our borders safe. And the truth is that the Kenya Army, or the military for that matter, is a professional body. It is respected in the world. The international community respects our military. And so anytime we have such an issue like the forthcoming election, we expect our military to be on alert. This is the time when an enemy can try to infiltrate into our borders, into our country, because we are right now very vulnerable. When you read the social media, when you read whatever people are commenting and writing, this is a sensitive moment. And I expect our military to be up to the task, to prepare, to be there, and to be ready for anything that can come up. And let me just say this also. In the year 2007, 2008, when everything was going wrong, and our people were being, the hostilities were all over, everybody started asking, where is our military? Where is the military to come in? And so the military at such a moment has to be part and parcel of it. It's a professional group. They know what they're doing. They know their brief. And we expect them to be on high alert. Right. And of course, George, the question, I mean, among most critics has been, why have we not seen such a preparation with the security forces in a previous election? Is it something that should be raising temperatures and tensions ahead of the election, really?
One thing that is very clear is that every other time we have elections, the country thinks about peace. And it is one thing that every time we are going through an everything a man is going through is evolving everything, every time. So we can agree that systems are being brought, new subsystems are brought into the big supra system. In IBC, we have seen changes, and possibly this is a new phenomenon we are yet to see. Possibly briefings from IBC will tell us. Right. Chebukati is new, and we expect him exactly to tell us what is this that is coming this time and why now. Thank you.
I don't know your thoughts on this, Ndolo. It's been quite a long, a long trip with the back and forth with the security forces, allegations by the opposition, and of course, the security ministry, the interior ministry says they're only doing this to secure the general election. Is it in order to see such claims coming out of the opposition leader?
Well, allegations, or false or true, all the Kenyans want right now is fair and proper elections. However, you see, I have not gone through the document which from the military.
Right.
I would like to see it, and maybe the media should highlight it and people to go through on what is happening. It's a very serious allegation to me, very serious. And if we as Kenyans want really to, this country is sweet. I mean, there's no need for we going for elections and then you see people are coming out with anger. You saw what happened when they were having that press conference, the NASA team. you see how the anger was there. I mean, everybody was tense in that room. And when you saw later on, when I saw the news, when the president was talking where he was, that also I was shocked. I mean, you know, they call themselves brothers and all the time, and Ndugu, my brother. But yesterday when I saw the president calling Yule Mzee, you know, that also, it divides, it gives more tension. Mm-hmm. So I think if there is such a thing going on, we Kenyans, we have to make sure that we are not going to allow such a thing to happen. I mean, we are not going to agree.
Some of these claims that are being given by the opposition leader is that soldiers, apparently during the election, will be given closed signal frequency jammers, electric shock flexible batons, stun guns, power saws, in some instances, according to NASA principles, to cut off power supply in some particular regions. And these are serious claims coming just 9 days to the elections. And of course, the fact that the opposition has quite a large following, and so this is a perception that has already been created among that particular following. Wakili Harvey, where do we get out of this quagmire?
There is a disturbing trend in the profound ignorance of response on the part of whoever is responding to the claims made by Raila, because the role of the military is quite clearly set out in the Constitution. It's limited to the defense of the country, to protect the country from outside attack. The only way in which the military can be deployed locally is for emergency purposes. And this also has to be done with the approval of the National Assembly. Now, to the extent that the military has not denied the principal aspect of this claim, it is very worrisome that such a scenario could have happened within a few days to the election. Which lends credence to the claim that, look, there may be a possibility of interference with this electoral process. And it must be understood, an election need not only be conducted in a peaceful atmosphere, it needs to be free and fair. Now, if the military may be used to instill fear amongst the electorate, there is a possibility that the turnout will not be as expected. There is a possibility that the facilities intended to enable the effective conduct and transmission of election results are not in place. Look at a case of Angola. The European Union observer mission said they will not participate in that election because the circumstances in which the election is going to be undertaken does not give credence as to whether there will be a good election. There is a possibility we may be going towards that direction.
I don't know. I need to say this. Even those kind of allegations that the opposition keeps making keep leaving some of us Kenyan citizens very worried, because the question is this: why, by using words like power source will be used, cutting off power, you're already instilling fear, and that leaves the question: is the opposition ready for this election? Are our politicians really ready for this election? And why must you every time look for the devil? You know, always mention about the devil, cause fear, be prophets of doom. There'll be this, there'll be that. When will we start as Kenyans, start looking at things positively, expecting the best, talking like people who have been, to a church or to a mosque, people who believe in God? Why must we every time look for the devil behind the door, look for shadows, fight shadow box, and insult even professional bodies like the military? I tend to think our politicians, my two Mheshimiwas who are here today, kindly start respecting our military. Stop speaking words that can cause anxiety. And as you put it very clearly, and the newspapers are putting it very clearly, those statements by Honorable Raila Odinga cause anxiety. Everybody's just wondering, surely, are we safe? Is everything good? And that's not how to run a country.
All right. And of course, it's questions that have been raised for a while. Do you think, Wakili, in your view, how would you say this will affect voter turnout ahead of the elections? Because as it is, where people who are preparing to leave their respective homes, seeking safety ahead of the elections?
Of course, it will affect voter turnout because people do not want to be caught in a desperate situation. And this is a reality. It's not a matter that may be belittled in the manner in which some of those without better knowledge of how things are done are handling it. I think the tranquility in an electoral process is paramount. The fairness, the credibility, and the fact that there is no outside interference. That cannot be ignored. These are not issues that you can leave in the realm of the unknown, because it's an empirical exercise that has to be conducted in an atmosphere that can be verified, that can be accountable to all. And to a large extent, it must be admitted that the manner in which the IEBC is conducting the entire process leaves a lot to be desired. Where is the fidelity in this exercise? And it's not just a matter of noise. Raila commands a big chunk of the electoral following in Kenya. So what he says must be taken into account. And time without number, most of what he has put forth has been based on credible evidence. We cannot just ignore what is put forth yesterday. All right.
And just drawing from that point, I'm sure Amunga has a rebuttal.
Of course.
Like he says,
he can't get away with it.
There seems to be an air of, a lot of people trusting the credibility, of what NASA flag bearer Raila Odinga says. And one of those claims was that there still continues to be a plan to isolate NASA's strongholds during the election and use the immunity to deliver victory to Jubilee. Now, let's also consider the fact that KDF has come up and owned up to this document, but they say it's just been quoted out of context per se. Amunga.
True. The army has a role. This is our Kenyan army. They use our taxes. They have a role to ensure that our borders are safe. They have a role to ensure that these things go peacefully. This kind of role we can't assume. And the army or the military cannot just sit back and watch as things go wrong. As I put it, in 2007, 2008, everybody asked, where is the army? And we all know the role that the military played during that time. The Malaba-Busia Road was cleared. Just a few moments ago, we've seen the clip where the Ugandan parliament was discussing that if Kenya goes into turmoil, they will not have fuel and other supplies. Now, that borders on security. That means the international community, our neighbors are worried. The statements that Hon Raila Amolo Odinga is making every now and then, going to court, claiming ABCD, all these claims are putting the country on the edge. And if I was the president, I will not be comfortable. If I was in the army, for example, and even just being a normal citizen, I'm just a normal taxpayer, every time I get a newspaper like this one, and the headlines are just doom, 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 rigging, what have you, whatever, you make us lose hope. When will a politician, Mheshimiwa Ndolo, when will people start preaching positivity, make us be positive in life, make us believe that there's a better future and a better tomorrow? Why are you guys always looking for the devil in this nation? I think the politicians, and especially those who are in opposition, I want to say shame on you. Start giving this country hope.
All right. It was very strong feelings there. 9 days to the elections, and I see a lot of election preparedness reports on the paper this morning. On page 5 there, Okot reads mischief in printing deal. So this is Third Way Alliance Kenya presidential candidate Okuru Okot was accused the IEBC